Hello, everyone, and welcome to another riveting edition of Under the Floorboards, where we laugh at the creatures that go bomb of the night. I am your host, John, joined as always by my beautiful co-host, Eric. How are you this week?
Fabulous. I feel
Yeah.
like we're in 4K right now, except not really.
At least my camera's moving this time.
It is.
Because we just had a really, really awesome interview the other day that I can't wait for you guys to see. But my box was freezing up most of the time. Like I felt like the chick from Saw 3 that was like behind the bars and they kept spraying her with water
Right.
in the freezing room. Titties.
Exactly what it was.
Super excited this week. We got so this, as for anyone who has the capacity of reading, you've seen that the title of is The Well Part Deux.
Mhm.
So for those of you who do not know, we did a pre-screener for The Well back in November, and finally it's getting its American release.
Which is super fucking
right?
sick.
September 3rd, it will be available in America. So Frederico reached back out to us and asked us if we would do another review. So I'm really
And so we
excited.
shall.
Yeah, I was like, so we get to watch the movie again? So
Yeah. Awesome.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
That makes twice we've seen this movie before any of y'all motherfuckers have.
Yeah, your mom. But in all seriousness, we were really excited because this was like such an awesome film the first time around, and it was nice to be able to like go back and reflect on it, especially after like seeing some other movies, you know what I mean, and kind of having a little bit more compare and contrast. I know I actually watched Opera recently, which is a giallo horror Argento film, as a lot of you are aware of, and that one was awesome. And I'm starting to, branch out a little bit more into some of that kind of stuff. So it was really cool to see a lot of those classic influences kind of come through in this film. But we're going to talk about it a little bit, and I think we're going to start off with our cast and crew to get that out of the way.
All right, cool. 2023, technically speaking, this is a Frederico Zampaglione joint. It was co-written by Stefano Massi, perhaps.
Stefano Massi.
We have Lauren Lavera as Lisa, Claudia Gerini as Child Tied to the Tree,
which is still my favorite credit in the whole film.
Claudia Gerini as Emma, Jonathan Dylan King as Marcus.
Well, first of all, Tony Pandolfo was the man with the dog.
Yeah. Whether or not that dog killed it. Let's say that.
So as the story stands, is a budding art restorer travels to a small Italian village to bring medieval painting back to life to its former glory. Little does she know, she is placing her life in danger from an evil curse and a monster born of myth and brutal pain. The story. I do want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff in the beginning that's not necessarily spoilers. Because like a lot of it, you can kind of feel like the Giallo horror happening.
As I can see in your background right now.
That's me trying to kiss Lauren Lavera with the side of my head. Can't stop loving you. Yeah, it's no secret that we are big fans of Lauren Lavera in this 100%. Household. So we meet Lisa, played by Lauren Lavera, traveling to, I believe it was called the Vichy Manor in Sambuci.
We got that part down.
Yeah, so it was, so quick story. This was fucking hilarious. So originally when we did the pre-screener and I was trying to figure out how to spell some of these words because I barely
Italian.
Yeah, I barely know Spanish. I definitely don't speak fucking Italian. Yeah. And I was messaging with Frederico, and I was like, hey, so would you send me the link one more time? And so I can see how to spell it. And, there's a little bit of a barrier there. His English is very good. It's much better than my lack of Italian is. He sends me this voice message that just goes, Sambuci. Samabuchi. And I'm like sitting in the middle of a DMV, like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on?
Some poor guy named Sambucci stands up and like goes to the.
Oh, it's my turn.
Right.
It's my turn. It's my turn. I'm a Sambuchi.
I'm at a Sambucci.
Some of the kills in this were fucking brutal.
Yeah, a lot of people die
like
in a lot of different ways.
like and this one I'll put up on there, but the one that I like is there's one scene in particular, and we've seen some shots on the Well Instagram. Make sure you're following that, and you can see all of that below. But one of my favorite kills is you see uh, the clown-esque character in this. He grabs like what I can only explain as like a hoe or like a garden trowel or something like that.
Grabs a whore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he grabs it and he fucking peels her eye out. And like I was like, oh, he's making a hoe cake. Got it.
Nice. It's real.
Yeah.
I'm partial to the one that the character in question sticks their head through a hole in the floor with a hope for escape and a wing and a prayer.
There is no escape in this film.
These fucking like corrosive palms begin like peeling the face. There's a lot of peeling.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
It's very like you're either like a banana or an apple. There's just like a fucking
like a squirrel getting degloved by a starving hunter.
It's like that scene in fucking Game of Thrones when they're like talking about who skins rabbits the fastest, and he just fucking rips it open.
Yeah, exactly. Me.
Yes, Emma, played by Claudia Gerini or Gerini, is employing her under a deadline, which is the important part of all of this, is that there is a deadline between when Lisa has to get it done. Because like Lisa like walks into the castle and she's just like, yeah, I should be able to get this done in like a month. And she's like, that's great. You have 2 weeks. So I feel like with Italian horror, what I really like about it is everything actually feels pretty light when it's supposed to be. Unlike, I feel like a lot of American horror is very like you're trying to jam horror into like a sunny day at the park.
Right.
Kids are eating rocket pops on the playground. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, dude, like, what are you talking about?
Standing behind them was a manifestation of pure evil.
Because when essentially when Lisa gets to town and she gets off the bus to get to where essentially the bus is like supposed to have a stop next to the castle, right? And she's like sitting down, and Jonathan Dillon King's character Marcus comes across the way and starts like speaking Italian at her, and she's wearing the cutest beret I have seen in my entire life.
I sort of feel like Lauren owns that. Like she just busted that out of her collection.
The only weird part about it to me is I've never seen people wear berets like that.
Yeah.
Like, because she looked like one of the like mushroom enemies in Dark Souls, because it's just sitting in the middle of her head. But I guess it's like fashion over there, and I don't know what a blouse is. So
right.
But we have him. He's speaking Italian to her, and she's just like looking around. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, no hablo italiano.
Je ne comprends pas, monsieur.
Pepe?
Yeah. Pepe. And he's like, oh, my bad. Yeah, the bus is not, it's broken. And she's like, oh, cool.
But the bus is broken.
Yeah. And he's like, it's okay. I'm going to work. Let me carry your bags to the castle. She's like, okay.
And we talked about this. Actually, this is another thing I love about Italian horror is now we're just at the castle. I don't need to watch you walk.
And we're here.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was walking distance. I don't know why they needed the bus, anyways. I don't think the sun even moved.
Right. I think it's just because she didn't know where she was going.
No, she didn't.
You just had an address and now a guide.
Yeah, exactly. And so we follow them into the castle, and Marcus kind of leaves her and is like, "Hey, my pub, I guess, is like across the street from this castle." And he's like, if you ever want to come, and my Italian accent is just going to be fucking racist. So if you would like a beer at my pub,
bit of booze, and
I've played too much Mario.
yeah, it's exactly what it is. An
Um,
Americanized Japanese-ized version of.
so we start to have Lisa kind of move into this castle essentially, and
Mhm.
she's like, I'm gonna stay in this room, and she's talking to Emma, and it's kind of like, I need to be here to kind of like feel the energy, I guess.
Mhm.
And like, when she wakes up, she's looking at it. She's looking at it while she's going to sleep. It's going to be everything that's on her mind, because again, she's under a really big time constraint.
Mhm.
So what had happened was the painting has been covered in soot
Mhm. From a fire.
from a fire. It is a very, very old painting that is very cherished. And Emma is trying to move it into a auction that's coming up.
Mhm.
So as we were told. And the right now there are supposed to be a bunch of high price bidders and a bunch of other stuff that comes along with that. So
Castle money is on the table here.
castle money is on the
Yes,
table,
right.
to the point where, and we do find out that if she doesn't do it like, if Lisa does not accomplish this task in a certain amount of time, her and her father's restoration business will be completely ruined, because there is a penalty in the contract for not getting it done in a certain amount of time.
The penalty is I drink your milkshake. I seize your assets, the cars, the houses, the real estate, the firstborn.
And it's like, God, you gotta be struggling. I mean, you're an art restorer. I don't even know people that buy art, but I think that's because I'm a millennial that's poor. So
Right. Yeah.
what was it you were talking about the other day? The rabbit in the snowstorm.
Yeah. Yeah. The rabbit in the snowstorm. Is that a white canvas? $4 million.
I don't know. It just calms me.
Mhm. It's not about what the subject matter is. It's about how it makes you feel.
That's more or less the plot that we're given.
Mhm.
There are a couple other characters that we meet. Like, we meet Emma's daughter, who is Julia, who is a little antisocial, not very amicable
Sort
with,
of angsty.
yeah, a little angsty,
Mhm.
little angsty. And as the story progresses, Lisa begins having some nightmares,
Mhm.
and in true Gallo fashion, they are just these horrific fucking scenes that she's seeing.
These Pan's Labyrinth looking motherfuckers coming up. Yeah.
And it definitely kind of starts to teeter between what is her perception of reality and
Mhm.
what's kind of happening now.
Madness slipping.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Grip on reality slipping.
And just overall terror in in an unknown place,
Mhm.
with like, you have no bearing.
No one you trust. And there's kind of a subplot that's moving along, like you said, there's some other characters and stuff like that, but there's this trio, a threesome, if you will, of people that are
A menage a trois.
yeah, are sort of investigating stuff in like nature kind of things.
Yeah, I think
And
they said fauna is what
the
they were.
fauna.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know how much we can talk about from a plot point standpoint, but there's a subplot going on that sort of revolves around those three.
They are actually kind of who we meet in the very beginning of this story on the bus. And there's actually a really funny interaction with them and Lauren, because there are uh, two girls that are on their way to study the fauna because they're biologists, and they have a guy with them, and he's like, no, I'm just their Italian guide, and he's like speaking like an American. So it's just, it was really funny to me that they didn't like they didn't go local, and they
with a South DC accent.
I was like, you always shop local.
Yeah.
It was funny because he was just like, yeah, so I'm just their Italian guide, and I carry the bags. And they were just like, they all just start like laughing with each other, and they're like, yeah, he does carry the bags.
Yeah, 100%.
And yes, there is kind of a subplot that I really enjoyed, because where all of that's happening, there's a lot more mystery.
Yeah.
It feels like we're watching the answer of the mystery while we're trying to figure out the mystery
Exactly.
on Lisa's side and kind of see how everything plays out
It's
simultaneously.
it's very, yeah, it's very deliberately disconnected in the sense that you're aware that this is happening in tandem with the main story, but you don't know where or why.
Well, and I think it's funny because this is, a very supernatural story. This is a very supernatural mystery in the Gallo fashion, but it is also a Gallo slasher.
Mm-hmm.
And the clown is
Big Chungus.
is insane to me.
Yeah.
Because like he doesn't speak throughout the entire movie, but he definitely like
His way through the entire movie. I wonder if those were like script notes.
which
Guttural, nasal.
it's just a picture of a pterodactyl. but it's like everyone's laughing until he starts fucking killing people.
Right. And as he's killing them, he's dropping them down
The
well.
And we can't get into any more of what is in the well.
It's not chill.
It's not chill. Guys, something totally not chill happened in the well last night.
Right.
Let's just say when you get a shot of the interior of the well, there are a lot of bones. There are a lot of bones at the bottom of the well.
Like a rancor pit kind of vibe.
And there's a lot to get added to it throughout the film. So that's the overall plot that we can share with you right now. But let's talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that we enjoyed in the movie. Let's talk about the Queen for a minute.
Lauren kills it, as she always does. And I want, if I'm not mistaken, this is meant to be like an early 90s setting. So a lot of her wardrobe and hairstyle and makeup and that kind of thing is based on that. So that's really cool to me as somebody that like grew up in that era and getting to see that come to fruition, not fruition, but like come to life on the screen again. I think that's really, really interesting that we're getting to a point where that feels like a timepiece.
Like when we were doing Dawn of the Dead, and you're like, you think it's fun? You're like, it's funny that it's relevant that you're talking about a movie that's 20 years old now.
Exactly. I know, because it just doesn't feel that way to me. And I like, as I'm growing as a human being, that I'm noticing things like that. I really appreciated how deliberate her her character is in fulfilling the mission, how like driven she is to like, we got to represent the family, we got to represent the father's business, and that, and as she gets like tugs, like as the plot moves forward, she gets tugged away from that a little bit, but she keeps fighting to no, this is, and I love that from a character standpoint because it feels relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if it's like, it's not just like going home empty handed. It's like you go home empty handed and then they're going to take everything away
And you
from
don't
you.
have a home.
And you don't have, yeah. Oh, that's so crazy. You went from home to homeless.
There's just a well on her property where the house used to be. Oh, well. Yeah.
Well, oh, well. I really loved this character, and I talked about this a little bit in the last pre-screener that we did for this, because she just feels like Indiana Jones to me. Like it's she's an art restorer, which is like a degree away from just being an archaeologist. She has some really, really badass moments in this film that kind of are Indiana Jones-esque. And she's always felt like the hero in this. I think like in like there was no and maybe it's a preconceived notion of like seeing Terrifier 2, and thinking to myself, of course, Lauren's a badass. But when I was watching this, there was like kind of no doubt in my mind that she was, the final girl
had that dog in her.
Had that fucking dog in her. You're thinking about that hot dog, aren't you?
100%. I'm so fucking hungry, y'all. We got Costco dogs.
we're about to slather him in ketchup just for a Max Hensgen. We're gonna send him fucking pictures of it.
No, I'm not.
He wants to be allowed in Chicago. But no, seriously, I think her delivery was great. I think her character made a lot of sense
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Like there was never anything that she was just like it didn't feel like I was watching Friday the 13th, you know, and you have like your incidental final girl or something like that.
Yeah, by proxy or whatever. There's a lot that she brings to the table as an actress as well. Like she's really good with her eyebrows, you know, like the subtle like facial twitches and things that she does and that she can deliver when the time comes that you're really evoking a lot of emotions without including tears or including screaming or whatever. And you can just see this character develop in this world that we've put her in or that we found her in. And Lauren has that dog in her, like I said. Like and that's something that for me is a mark of a really good actor, is somebody who can manipulate, you know, the heartstrings of the viewers without needing to come right out and say this is what's going on with me, you know.
Right. This is that dog in me.
Yeah. Some may call that acting.
No, she did an absolutely phenomenal job, and I totally agree with the facial acting more than anything else. And I think part of the reason that that's so prominent and why that stands out so much is, and I noticed this when I was watching opera, and I going back and watching Suspiria, I noticed it a little bit more, and I know both of those are Argento films, but I've watched like some Fulci and a couple other Gallos, and I've noticed that the Italians are absolutely obsessed with people's eyes. They are absolutely obsessed with like the cinematography shots that are like right here, and there's like a single tear, or there's fucking blood coming out of them, or they're ripping it out and shit like that. Like they are absolutely obsessed with eyes, and I think it's because like that's such like a sensitive part, right? Like you can cut like it was funny when you were a kid to go up and be like, boink. But that's also how you get fucked up.
Yeah, this day and age. Yeah.
Like I remember the defense move for people was like,
yeah, the Three Stooges block. That was classic. Classic.
But yeah, I'm not sure what time period it's supposed to be, because to me, I just assumed that's what an art restorer, a librarian, you know, would dress like in general. And also like
throughout the decades.
Yeah, we were curious more so as to like how much of this was actually just Lauren's wardrobe when she got onto set. She just brought it from home.
Yeah, bring a beret. Bring your most Italian beret you've got.
Oh my god, she has
she has multiple actually.
Yeah, the first scene when she gets off the bus at Sambuchi, she's got like this multicolored like hand knit beret, and I was just like, isn't that just the cutest thing I have seen today?
And it is.
Yeah, because my paralyzed dog's not cute.
Neither am I. So.
My other dog's pretty cute.
Yeah, it's all right.
He's all right.
We can't all be Lauren Lavera.
Cause he's all right. That's that dog and her. That dog and her is a cute dog.
3-dog night.
3-dog night.
Yeah.
So yeah, the cinematography was really cool in this film, because it's very reminiscent of, you know, very classic 70s 80s Gallo
lighting especially. I want to draw attention to
there was so much natural lighting in it.
Right.
Like there's this shot when Laura is like out like on the castle walls, which feels weird to say. But
on the ramparts.
Yeah, on the ramparts.
Yeah.
She is like talking to Emma's daughter up there, or she goes to see her, and there's this shot of her closing in on her, and it's just all natural lighting, and it looks incredible. The scene's actually kind of hilarious, but it hits a certain way that I don't want to spoil for anybody, but it was cool to see like that nice little like dolly close in, and we're following in like this beautiful under the Tuscan sun. They're probably not in Tuscany, but it's gonna be funny when he's like, "We're in Tuscany."
You're really good at that. So
That's the kind of autism I got.
Don't ever almost dox yourself around John. You'll put a pin in that. 100%. And there's a lot of, like, you're talking about natural lighting. There's a lot of things where the windows are open and there's light pouring in it, and it makes the space feel like stagnant in a good way, but also very much alive. Like the house is sort of alive at the same time, and like these spaces are being brought to life by the lighting and the set design and things like that.
It's a lot of
You
that
know,
dolly movement.
it is.
Man. Like there's a lot of that, like you're saying, like it's a wide shot.
Yeah.
But if everything in the shot is moving, it's not, it might it might be stagnant, but it is not stagnating.
That's what
Like,
I'm saying.
yeah.
It's not holding anything back. It reminds me a lot of, like, you know how the castle in the animated version of Beauty and the Beast, it's like, it's not that the house is quite literally alive, but all of those rooms feel so spacious, but also allow for the focal point to be the characters that are interacting within those spaces. And that's very classic Italian filmmaking to me. I mean, that's what makes it so accessible, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Totally. And which is interesting because I think that a lot of the cinematography in this film is actually really intimate. Like it's very like in your face. Like I said, we have concentration on the eyes. Like the kills that you get in this film are really personal. Like
very much so.
I was like, am I inside this person right now? Performances, can't say enough about. Obviously Lauren Lavera, but I really actually want to talk about a couple others real quick. I was a big fan of Gerini's, or Claudia Gerini's performance as Emma, as like is house mother the right word?
I would say
The matriarch.
Is
Yeah,
what I would lean into more. Yeah,
as the matriarch of the home,
the
she
head
definitely
woman in charge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the head woman in charge. The HWIC.
That's it. Recognize.
Because there was like always this sense of mysticism around her a little bit, even just with her just the, like you said, it's like a lot of that facial acting and like a lot of the ways that she, like her costume design, she feels otherworldly. Yeah, she doesn't feel menacing at all. She almost feels ethereal throughout the movie. Like she's just this floating ambient creature throughout the film,
and it's brought to life by her acting performance. Her attitude throughout the whole thing feels really aloof, like there's something preoccupying her, in every sentence she says. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Jonathan Dylan King did a great job as Marcus. We do run into him like quite a few times throughout the plot, and he's a great character. He really is a great character. His performance was great. And it's funny because he's a person that actually lives in both Rome and LA.
Cool.
And I've seen him
That's the kind of
yeah.
Okay.
And I've seen him speak before, and it's not that he has an American accent, because he obviously speaks beautiful Italian. But I guess he's just really good at both. Because like I remember after seeing The Well, hearing him speak for the first time, and I was like, what the fuck? It was like when you realized House was from England. Or Hugh Laurie.
Yeah. The actor House.
The actor formerly known as House. And also major props to Julia, which was played by not Elizabeth Klein, because that was the older one, Linda Zampaglione. So this was actually Frederico's daughter, I think.
That makes sense.
Yes.
And she crushed that for real.
Okay, this is actually going to blow my mind, because I feel like every podcaster now. All right, I'm going to blow your mind real quick. So Linda Zampaglione was born in Rome to the actress Claudia Gerini and singer-songwriter Frederico Zampaglione. I didn't realize that was like a family. This is a family film.
which is sick.
Ultimately, The Well is about family.
It is. And it really is. I mean, like, no pun intended or pun intended, but like that's actually the point.
But she really did have a great performance in this. She brought a good amount of that angst. I think there's a couple scenes where I really enjoyed the cinematography that was kind of focused around her.
Mhm.
Like there's a really good shot with her and Lauren where they're kind of circling around and she's like explaining something to Lauren and it's very menacing.
Mhm.
The whole time, or maybe not even menacing is the right word. But it's very like, ooh,
She serves a little bit, anti-hero isn't the right word, I think, but in the same way that
that's what
like
T Swift would say.
right, what was the dude's name that I'm blanking on it. I had it and I'm blanking on it. It's Tiresias in the Odyssey, where I'm technically like trapped in hell and like the underworld and that kind of thing, but I do know enough information to help you get out. You know? It's like that's kind of cool.
You were just helpful enough.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the vehicle character in a horror movie.
Yeah.
I love the messenger of the gods kind of. And if that's a gentle spoiler, I don't think that that's too bad. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I think you're right. And what's really cool about this film is, we make fun of the boy tied to tree being in the credits. But I definitely think that this is what I really enjoyed about this film overall, more than probably anything else.
Mm.
Over top of the awesome kills and the storyline and the Lauren Lavera, uh,
And the Lauren.
yeah, that's its own element.
Yeah.
But every character in this mattered
Hmm.
because we were talking the other day about another movie that we had seen where if you're just going to introduce someone and take this entire side arc to not develop them in any way just to kill them,
Hmm.
why is it a 2.5 hour movie?
Doesn't need to be.
It just doesn't
Mhm.
have to be. It shouldn't be.
And if that character absolutely has to exist for that reason, you know what I mean? What are you doing as a writer?
Which also, this film is 92 minutes.
Sweet spot.
Blah.
Mhm. Sweet spot.
I would eat this movie out.
Right in the Bucci.
right in the sambuchi.
I think I love what I love most about this movie is how complete the story is. It absolutely takes you where you need to go in an appropriate amount of time. The storytelling is paced properly, even though there are kind of two stories that are going on simultaneously with one another. You never feel like anything is extraneous. Like you were pointing out how the characters all feel like they matter. They all are a integral part of this thing, and so is every scene in this movie. And I think that that's really cool when you're not wasting anybody's time, you're not wasting your own time, you're not making things extraneous for the sake of doing so. It's just what it is, and I love effective storytelling like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. This movie really crushed it on that
Mhm.
front because it's so like I don't know, like there's a reason that it's only 92 minutes because all of the bullshit's cut out and you can definitely tell a story in that amount of time. Horror's been doing that forever,
That's right.
and again, that's why I really like we were talking about earlier in this is I love how clean a lot of that is in Gallo horror because it's usually like we're here because I said that we're here. The
Yeah,
characters are introduced. If you can't keep up, like,
that's your bad.
well, how did they just get there? Because they've been fucking walking or
Yeah,
they've been driving or they've been like, what? Why does that what matters to you?
right.
You need an entire non sequitur scene to tell you that somebody got from A to B when they told you that they were going to B.
That's how movies get longer than they need to be.
Oh my God. Take a note, Marvel.
Yep, exactly.
Don't worry, they're used to long run times now.
Gotta till they're 90.
Till they're 90. No, but yeah, guys, This movie is awesome, and it is on VOD on September 3rd. So
We are not far away.
Yeah, if you want to be cool,
First of all, pause this video and watch something else, like this movie.
Well, this is this is out before the movie.
Okay.
Is. Yeah, no, that otherwise
watch a movie
while you're waiting for The Well to drop. Is there anything you want to add about this?
I'm a marketing genius. No, there's nothing I want to add. Well, I take that back. There's a lot that I would love to add that we don't want to spoil for you guys.
Yes.
So
absolutely. I think
I'll leave it at that.
I think that's ultimately where we are right now is all right. The only other thing I do want to say.
Channing Tatum is Gambit.
You dirty bitch. Remember it.
Le bon temps roulé.
The only other thing that I did want to say is I am I'm super I am the great I am.
Watching you construct this sentence via a Zoom call is awesome.
I am very excited for you guys to see a certain weapon in this film, and it's something else. It's something that you probably wouldn't be expecting. But just remember you're in a castle, baby. Well, again, film's out September 3rd. Make sure to check it out and tell us what you think. Make sure you tag The Well, check out all the links down below, and your mom.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I do want to thank one more time, Frederico, for giving us this opportunity. And be sure to check out everybody else that's going to be posting this week, because when you're cool, you get to watch pre-screeners.
That's right. We've seen this movie twice before any of y'all have. That's how cool we are.
But thank you guys for joining us. Seriously, again, check out The Well September 3rd. And thank you for joining us where it creaks, it cracks, and we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night.